Hey everyone, welcome to the techpod podcast, episode number 2. I'm Bryce. You guys haven't heard me before on the podcast, so here we go. Now, we're here today with Jack, or as you guys may know him, Jack O'Plain from Twitter. How are you, Jack?
Good, yourself?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks. So Jack's actually our special guest on today's podcast, and we're just going to be talking with him about Samsung, Apple stuff in general, and Siri ports, which I'm sure is what you guys mostly know him about. So let's get this underway. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is Apple in general and just some of the rumours that are floating around lately. Now, one of the rumours is that there's going to be a new Apple TV, specifically with Bluetooth 4.0. Now, have you seen any evidence of this anywhere, Jack?
Yeah, I actually found, it was posted on 9 to 5 Mac about a week or so ago, Bluetooth 4.0 support in the actual drivers and everything.
Okay.
And it's directly referencing a third generation Apple TV. So Apple are at least testing something.
Yeah, so looks like we could be seeing a new Apple TV, but who knows what features that'll bring. Hopefully full HD 1080p playback, because that is a bit of a drawback on the current one, that it only goes to 720.
Yeah, I think Apple are finally starting to add full 1080p support with the iPhone 4S now, 1080p photos and everything. So I think that was just a kind of a marketing restriction on the previous iPhone and Apple TV kind of staging their marketing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Interestingly enough, I was actually looking to buy another Apple TV the other week, and I was just flicking through Noel Leeming's website, just comparing prices. And when I actually searched Apple TV, and there was Apple TV at the current price point of $169, but then there was a new model with no SKU loaded in yet that just said Apple TV wireless connection between your TV and computer. Now that was priced at $197. So yet again, there was no SKU or no image available. But when I just looked before the recording of this podcast, that's actually been pulled now. So maybe Noel Leeming knew something we didn't. And
yeah, I think a few other people have also. Or Amazon, wasn't it? They called it the Apple TV 2010 edition.
Yeah, I think
so.
Or
maybe these people are getting some hints at something.
Yeah, so obviously they're knowing something we don't, because if a little old electronics retailer in New Zealand knows something about it, then something's definitely happening at Apple.
Yeah, and another thing that's interesting is their code naming for it.
Yeah,
I believe it was J33.
Yeah,
Apple's typical K. Prefixes they've run out.
Yeah, it looks like they have, because what was iPad? K98 or something like that?
Something around there, yeah.
Yeah, I know that we were in the 90s at some point. Okay, so, Jack, you said something to me earlier about an iPad 2.3 reference.
Yes, it looks like there's actually a Sprint iPad or another carrier or something been updated to the iPad. So
okay, so maybe
I presume by being a 2.3 rather than a 3.3, it'd been just a carrier update rather than a whole hardware update.
Yeah. Okay, well that would most likely be Sprint, I'd believe.
Yeah, well, it's strange if they release a Sprint version and then they like what they did with the 4S. With the iPhone 4, sorry. There's the iPhone 4, then they released the unlocked one, then the Verizon one and everything.
Yeah.
Maybe we might be seeing a delayed iPad 3 release and the Sprint iPads just to tie us in for the moment, and then maybe a universal iPad or universal, like CDMA and GSM.
Yeah. Because the thing is, there's no need for an iPad 2.3, so to say, in pretty much any other country, because New Zealand and Australia don't use CDMA anymore, and I think that's the same with pretty much every other international country. GSM.
Yeah, I think CDMA is mainly US based.
Because I know.
So it's the US market that Apple would be targeting with that.
Yeah. Okay, so now that we know a bit more about iPad 2.3, Sprint iPad, CDMA. We don't know a hell of a lot right now, but okay, what about iPhone 5.1?
Yes, that was an interesting one. Who knows if Apple are actually testing something internally on their new iPhone that we don't know.
Yeah, because I mean,
Yeah, there was just that one reference. Well, I think there was a couple of references, but there was no drivers or anything that were hinting at anything.
okay, because that could just be something for WWDC next year. You know, a new
Yeah,
iPhone.
it may just be the early stages of Apple setting up drivers and such for the prototype device.
Yeah, because I think the 4S, it's just a bit of almost like a bridge phone. It's just, trying to bridge the gap between Apple and Samsung with Samsung's Galaxy S2. I think Apple just thought that they really needed just to give us a bit of a spec boost, just to carry us through until, mid next year when we might see this new iPhone.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's just to kind of keep the competition at bay for the moment, and then maybe
Yeah.
the iPhone 5 we actually see something quite special.
Yeah, because we already have seen a hell of a lot of iPhone 5 rumours. We had more
Yeah.
than our fair share this year, and even Apple admitted that themselves.
Yep.
Because
I liked in their financial call they basically called out Mark Gurman for ruining their shares and everything.
yeah,
And all
pretty
the-
much. They were pretty much trying to indirectly tell Mark Gurman to go get stuffed, I think.
Yeah.
Because I've actually got a supposed case for an iPhone 5 here, but we really don't know till Tim Cook gets on the stage.
Indeed, we just have no idea with Apple.
Yeah.
No one knew about the cards application or Find My Friends. Well, we did know about it. We didn't know it was coming out. In
Yeah,
iOS
Find My
5.
Friends was kind of just one of those rumours that came, then went, and it's like, oh, some more references have popped up. Oh, let's just put it on the back shelf and forget it, kind of thing.
Indeed.
Yeah, it was kind of just umming and ahhing about, oh, is it actually real or not, or is Apple just having us on?
Yeah, a lot of the things you find references to on the new iPhones and softwares and stuff is a lot of stuff that we won't see for a very long time.
Yeah, more than likely, because this is Apple we are talking about.
But I have heard rumours that Apple are testing high quality 3G playback for
Okay.
YouTube application. For the YouTube
Yeah,
application.
it would be a lot nicer to see it in full HD.
So I
Yep.
think they're probably just waiting for the carriers to sort out what kind of data allowance and stuff they're giving. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you'll be
And
losing all your megabytes and
yeah, and
whatever.
data allowance in New Zealand is just absolutely horrible because I think, our best value is 2 degrees mobile, but then they're restricted with their broadband zones because I have a Motorola Defy Plus that I'm reviewing, as you guys saw in an earlier techpod video. Motorola and 2 degrees loaded a gigabyte of data onto it for me, but I can't actually use that because since I'm just outside one of these mobile broadband zones, that doesn't entitle me to use the 2 degrees network. So I've only got 50 megabytes to use on that phone at the moment, which is the equivalent of something like $6 or $7.
Yeah, and that's the thing is the iPhone's always been a bit of a sludge in the New Zealand market because there's not enough people that can afford it, and the carriers don't know what they're doing compared to what some of the bigger, even Australian carriers are doing.
Yeah, well, the thing is, now that we have telecom on board in New Zealand, this iPhone launch was a dream come true almost for New Zealand. Because, I'm not sure if you guys know about last year's flop of an iPhone launch with Vodafone. It was just horrendous. People lined up outside the stores at midnight, and then they got told in the morning to get out. Vodafone are refusing to sell it. And then Apple kicked their foot in, and then Vodafone started selling it at 12 o'clock that day and pumped up the prices. But with telecom this year, they said, hey, iPhone launch. They told us all this 1 week before. Here's the stores that are going to sell it. Here's how much it's going to cost. Go do it.
Yeah, it's definitely a strange setup how they've got in New Zealand with no Apple stores or anything of that like.
Because I was having to get my iPhone repaired, which I brought from Vodafone, and I think I probably made about 20 phone calls just to get my iPhone repaired last year. I was going between Apple, Vodafone, TNT, Brightpoint, just to get a resolution out of it. It's actually really horrible over here with the whole iPhone situation.
Yeah, exactly. There's no Genius Bar where you can go in and swap it out that right there.
Exactly, yeah. It's like, well, send it to Brightpoint. Brightpoint will look at it, and then, you might have an iPhone in a week if you're lucky.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely interesting how they've got it set up. But I think carriers are slowly starting to increase their data caps and such.
Yeah. I mean, because it's the way of the future, really.
Yeah, but I believe AT&T in the States are starting, once you hit over 5 or 7 gigs or something around that number, they start to throttle your data, if I'm correct.
Yeah,
Something along those lines.
Yeah, I think I read something about that. But as for Sprint in the States, Apple's new favourite carrier, they're doing unthrottled, unmetered data for everyone. So
Yeah, so hopefully we start to see that in a few more carriers.
yeah, that would actually be really nice. Well, I don't really care what the Americans use on their iPhones. I just want my one to be better in New Zealand.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, I think that pretty much concludes this segment of the podcast, all about the general Apple stuff. We will now begin to talk about the Siri ports, probably the most interesting part of this. Okay, so now we come to the part of the podcast that I think everyone's been most looking forward to, just based on what I've been just replying to tweets on Twitter about when this is actually going to be available for you guys to listen to and all that kind of stuff. We are talking about Siri ports, porting the Siri application from the iPhone 4S to the iPhone 4. Now, as you guys know, Jack is one of the big guys in this market. I think he was the original person to be doing this. Is that correct, Jack?
No, I believe Stephen Stratton Smith actually got to it slightly before me, but yeah, it's a similar type of thing.
Yeah. So Jack is one of the first to be doing this. And from what I've seen on Twitter, Jack did get a lot of abuse over this, didn't you, Jack?
Yeah, some people don't actually understand reading things properly and understanding things.
Okay, so why'd you start this Siri port, Jack? Was there something that triggered you to want Siri, or did you just want to do it?
Not being able to get a 4S on release day and wanting to mess around with Siri.
Okay, yep.
So basically, being impatient.
Yep, pretty much like everyone is when it comes to Apple launches.
But yes, as soon as I saw that Siri was going to be iPhone 4S only, I was like, challenge accepted. Game on.
Yeah, that's pretty much the thing with Apple. They like to keep their new things exclusive to the new hardware.
Yeah, it's not only Siri as well. AirPlay mirroring was also done, copied over as well.
Okay, so that's available on the iPhone 4 now, is it?
Correct.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Because I do use that from my 4S to my TV, and it's just awesome. Just like on my iPad.
Yeah, so there's nothing fancy about the new iPhone 4 that disallows Siri or anything.
Yeah, it's all part of it.
As the Genius Bar politely informed me that the iPhone 4 just doesn't have the CPU power, which they were quickly shown who knows what they're talking about.
Yes, Genius Bar just follow the directions from Apple. Really, you got to sometimes.
Yeah, well, they actually I think it was 9 to 5 Mac actually leaked the social media and
yes, I was
rumor.
I was having a read of that the other day. It's pretty interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, they're just told to deny anything and not comment.
Yeah, pretty much no comment.
So yeah, while we're on Siri ports, I think there's one thing to address, which is the most recent thing.
Yes, the thing that made
H1 Siri.
Yeah, and this was pretty big news last night, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was big news until they've now kind of quit their Twitter account and everything, because the way their system works is they're actually giving you illegal files, copyrighted files to Apple.
Okay, so
Apple actually own files.
So have they just gone to the iPhone 4S, ripped the files off it, and then pretty much made those available on Cydia?
Pretty much. They've copied the files and changed one XML file, and that's it. All they've done.
Okay, right. So are you doing something differently with your Siri port?
Yeah, well, yes and no. You've still got to have some files from the iPhone 4S, of course.
Yep,
but
that's expected, but...
Yeah, that with the public iPhone 4S jailbreak, we might have VF decrypt keys, which basically allow you to open up the iPhone software image.
Okay.
So basically everybody could just download the iPhone 4S iOS 5.1 or whatever it will be when the jailbreak's out.
Yep.
And copy the files for themselves.
Okay, so then it's on their shoulders if Apple want to pursue action onto them.
Exactly, and then I'm not going to be in charge of or in problems with Apple for releasing their files and everything.
Yeah, so by the
And it
sounds...
makes the whole lot easier trying to send like 300 megabytes to each person.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're trying to do the right thing for the public by saying, hey, let's not do this illegally. Let's just find a better way of doing it.
Exactly, and that's the same with Stephen as well.
Okay.
He's in the same boat that even if because the 5.1 developer preview didn't have any didn't have an encrypted RAM disk.
Okay.
So you could actually open up the iPhone software image rather easily. So that made it heaps. Basically, made the whole port quite possible. But then you've still got the issues of that's only available to developers, and then people are going to be pirating that.
Yeah, which is what really happened with the whole iOS 5 beta, isn't it?
Exactly.
People,
we don't want people just going around pirating things.
Yeah, iMod Zone download. That's what I think everyone was going to that and paying something like $7 to have their UDID registered or something along those lines.
Exactly.
And that I just don't think that's right. I mean, if you're a developer, you have the right to see that software first. If you're a member of the public, you should just piss off until Apple have got it ready.
The thing is, there's so many bugs and stuff in there, and Apple just release it just so they can find their bugs and they can make sure everything works perfectly. Regular users are just getting onto it and just trying to use it as a proper operating system,
and then having a whinge about it that it doesn't.
And then having a whinge about it when something breaks. It's like you're running beta software. You're meant to be reporting all the stuff to Apple.
But you don't have a developer account, so you can't report it.
Exactly.
So it's just like, just go away and leave the software alone, please.
Yeah.
If you want...
That's an entirely different discussion as well.
Yeah, if you want to, have access to those developer previews, pay your $99 a year, become a developer.
Yeah, and that said, you also get a lot of helpful resources, and you get into their developer forums and such.
Exactly. So it's probably a good thing, if you're thinking about development, don't pirate, just pay.
Exactly.
Okay, so anyway, we just pretty much went completely off track from Siri there, but well. So is there an iPad version of Siri? Because I heard something about a person on Twitter called Sonny Dixon that was doing this.
Okay, so what happened there is he's managed to get... I don't know if he did it on a real device or if he did it on the simulator.
Because I know he did get an iPhone 4S on launch day, and he does have an iPad 2 from what I know, so...
Yep. So, depending on how he did it, but I believe all he done is actually got the settings to show Siri in the settings. There's nothing more than that.
Because, he didn't actually show us, the whole Siri thing popping up or anything. All he did was have a screenshot that said Siri settings, and then he just plastered his name all over it.
Yeah.
And that's all we saw, and we haven't heard anything since.
A little while ago, we actually managed to get Siri at least to show up and have the GUI basically. Before we fully had the authentication and everything working. We had it running on an iPad 1. I think if you go through my timeline on Twitter for days and weeks and months ago, you'll find them. But the images and stuff need to be changed, and some of the code needs to be modified a bit.
Yeah.
But there's nothing restricting the iPad 1 from even running Siri.
Yeah. So this whole Sonny Dixon iPad Siri thing, we did actually invite him onto the podcast today, but he declined, and that is probably most likely because he's a 14-year-old kid whose mummy won't let him talk on Skype.
Yes, I've been hearing rumours of this.
Yes, because me and Sonny actually used to be mates. We'll put it that way. Sonny used to be on techpod, as you guys would have seen some of his content on the site, which I'm sure he wrote very legitimately, but enough of that. So yes, Sonny declined a request to come on the show, and that's about it.
Yep.
So, now, yesterday on Twitter, both Jack and I did put out a tweet about if anyone wants to ask Jack some questions, just, tweet me, techpod, or Jack. Did you get any questions yesterday, Jack?
Most questions were badly translated Google Translate questions.
Okay.
And the basic gist of them was, when is Siri port coming?
Okay, right. So I'll ask you that one last. So I've actually got a few questions here that don't actually say, when are you releasing the port? Okay,
Cool.
so the first one from Twitter user, I don't actually know how to pronounce this, AlexY9. His question is, how much time do you spend in front of a computer?
It depends on the day and what I'm doing, but if it's cold, wet, and raining and nothing to do outside, probably 18 plus hours.
Which is how it's looking in Christchurch today where I am. It's cold, wet, and rainy outside at the moment.
Yep, pretty much the same here.
In Sydney, is it?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, okay, that's asking when it's actually coming. So, now your Twitter profile picture, Tesla Year on Twitter, asks, how do you get one like that?
Okay, so again, this is probably the second most asked question. It's done by a website called 8bit.me.
Yep, the same place I've used for my Twitter display picture, actually.
Exactly, and the little Steve Jobs thing along the bottom was Twitter ribbon or something along those lines. I can't quite remember.
Okay, so in the podcast, we'll just have a banner showing you guys those web links anyway. Okay, yep. So another question from Arushi on Twitter again is, have you ever been contacted by Apple in any way to discuss the Siri matter or to stop you from trying to release it?
Yes and no. I've had an email from someone that I think was from Apple and undercover or whatever.
Okay.
Asking a few probing questions about Siri and basically saying I shouldn't do it, and just checking by the actual headers and stuff of the email. I'm quite confident it was actually Apple that sent that.
Okay, right.
But
so
who
Apple
knows?
haven't contacted you directly and said, "Hey, what the hell's going on?" They've kind of you think they might have just sent a little spy onto you.
Exactly. I did receive a job offer from Apple, but that's completely Siri irrelevant.
Okay. So I'm guessing you didn't take that, judging by the whole Siri thing.
What was that, sorry?
I'm guessing you didn't take that job offer.
I don't want to discuss.
That's fine.
What kind of stuff, because I'm still kind of in negotiations with Apple.
Yep, that's fine. Okay, and this isn't really a question, but false Mike Beasley says he has Siri on his iWatch.
Yep, I sent it to him through my Nintendo DS, 3DS or whatever they're called nowadays. Yep.
Okay, right. Oh, I thought I've
actually just for anybody else asking, I've also ported Siri to your mum's face, so
lovely.
So you can Siri while you Siri.
Now, actually, an interesting thing. If you want to port Siri to your TV, here's what you do: you grab your iPhone 4S, you grab an Apple TV. You flick that AirPlay mirroring on that we discussed earlier, fucking bang, Siri's on your TV.
Exactly.
It's not too hard, so stop your whinging about this Apple HD TV thing that'll probably never happen. Buy yourself an Apple TV box for 170 New Zealand dollars, Siri on your TV, done.
Job sorted.
I actually went into UB, which is our New Zealand Apple premium retail outfit. That's actually a load of rubbish, but I won't go into that. And I actually just AirPlayed onto their Apple TV and freaked some people out by putting Siri on the TV.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know about the AirPlay mirroring. Maybe it's just bad marketing from Apple. They haven't.
I don't think they don't really push AirPlay enough. AirPlay is an amazing technology.
Yeah, it's definitely could do with some improvements as far as gaming.
Oh yeah.
On the TV and everything, but hopefully the new Apple TV will improve all of that. Maybe a faster processor or...
Yeah, because, logically they'll go to the A5 chip.
Yeah. I wonder what clock speed they'll be underclocking it at this time, because if I remember correctly, the iPhone 4S has got a slightly different A5 or something slightly different about the A5 than the iPad 2. It's different clocked or something along those lines.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Okay, and I think I've this question here. Let's count how many times I've had it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I've probably got this question
A lot.
Yeah, I've got this question a lot. When will you be releasing the Siri port?
Okay, so that's kind of difficult to answer, but basically, first of all, a public jailbreak for the 4S is kind of needed because, again, like we discussed before,
Yeah,
we're not out. We like to mess with Apple, but we still have some respect for privacy and copyright laws.
Yeah.
So yeah, 4S jailbreak, and so far everything's looking quite promising. So maybe just a quick tool to copy all the files and automate the whole system. But yeah, it should be shortly after a 4S jailbreak.
Okay, so.
And for anybody else that are asking, the next question is no, I don't know when there'll be a 4S jailbreak.
Yes. So there's your answer, guys. You can stop making my iPhone have that many notifications about asking that question now. Okay.
Wait, what? You still have Twitter notifications on?
Yes, I do. I don't jailbreak my iPhone.
Oh, I turned them all off after I start getting like millions of messages a day.
Yes, I think I'm going to have to do that as well because, I mean, just while we've been recording this podcast, well, just this segment actually, I've had about 10 notifications. Someone asked me why I wasn't replying to his questions. But yeah, anyway, Twitter notifications are hellish at the moment with all these questions coming through.
Exactly. I've turned mine all off.
Yeah. Okay, so that pretty much concludes this part of the podcast, which was the part on Siri porting and Siri hacks and Sonny Dixon and his iPad hack. Well, his iPad settings.
Just before we finish, I'd also like to put it on the record that a lot of these other Twitter accounts and stuff that are posting that they've got a Siri port and everything, I'd wait until you actually see a video or something from them. Yeah. Even though I was late as releasing my video for sorting stuff out, yeah, a lot of these accounts are just there to generate followers.
Yeah, pretty much. So, if there is a Siri port, like we saw last night, check it out first, let some other idiot try break his iPhone first, and then we'll let you do it.
Yeah, but if just advice to the public, I'd stay well clear of H1 Siri due to the fact that anybody with a 4S that's given them data, well, your 4S is now going to become a 4 because Apple will just block Siri.
Yeah, exactly.
And I believe Apple have actually done some measures to stop H1 Siri working as far as server side. Okay. They've stopped the identifiers and blocked IPs and such.
Okay, right, interesting. Okay, well, anyway, we'll wrap up the Siri port and we will come back and we'll talk about Samsung. Okay, everyone, here we go. Now, this last bit of content for the podcast is all about Samsung, Apple's favourite company in the world. Siri won't even say how much she loves them. Okay, so, Jack, do you want to run us through a bit of the thing about Samsung's childish legal action that's pretty much going on at the moment?
Yep. They recently got their Galaxy... Is it the Galaxy Tab?
I think that's what they call it, yeah.
Here in Australia. They were allowed to sell it, and now I believe they're not allowed to sell it again.
Okay.
Apple have got another injunction or whatever. I think that's still yet to be decided until Friday, I believe, or next Friday.
Okay.
But Samsung won't be making the Christmas holiday sales by the looks of it.
But then again, what sort of kid wants a Galaxy Tab for Christmas?
Yeah, I think I was reading somewhere the top 3 items people want in the world is like an iPad world piece and then an iPhone. So
Apple's better than world peace.
Yeah, I think someone has played around with the data, but
yeah,
iPad would definitely be quite high up on people's lists, and I don't think Android phones or Galaxy Tabs would be very high up on them. But maybe the Amazon's new tablet might start to get some interest.
Yeah, the Kindle Fire. I don't remember who quoted this, but I remember about a week ago, someone said, my Kindle Fire will make a lovely placemat for my iPad too.
Exactly. But at the end of that, I believe it's still running Android.
It is, yeah.
You get all the problems that come with Android.
It's pretty much running Android with skin over the top of it to make it look like Amazon did all the work.
Yeah. But that being said, the new Windows phone system is actually quite nice, quite surprisingly nice.
Yes, because I did try Microsoft's demo on my iPhone, ironically. Have you seen the demo where you can...
the HTML demo that they've now released.
Yeah. Have you had to play with that yet, or...?
I've actually had to play with a real device, but
okay.
actually own a real device. But they've definitely taken. Well, you kind of got to take some ideas from Apple's current operating system because that's what people are now familiar with.
And this is the thing about the whole Samsung Apple debate. You can't make a 9 to 10 inch tablet without it looking like the iPad.
Exactly. Apple have kind of set the standard so people...
Yeah.
If any company that actually cares about the user experience and everything will actually be using some of the traits of the iPhone and the iPad just due to the fact that that's what people know.
Because do you remember what a tablet was before the iPad?
Basically, one of those little Windows XP.
It was an HP computer, and you could twist the screen around and fold it over. It was about 3 inches thick, and it had a stylus. And a resistive touch
if you're
screen.
using a stylus, you're doing it wrong.
Exactly. Quote Steve Jobs. And actually, just while we're on the mention of Steve Jobs, for you people in the States, it will be 2 months today.
R.I.P.
Since Steve Jobs' passing. So it's gone really fast. I can't believe it was 2 months ago when I heard the news. So, rest in peace, Steve.
Yep.
Okay. So we've covered the Samsung legal, the Galaxy Tab ban.
What about Samsung's latest, what should we call it, ad campaign or
I don't know.
Shit stirring?
Yeah, I think we'll call it shit stirring, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
So, if you guys...
Quite an interesting advertisement they've gone with.
Yes, so for you guys who haven't seen it, I will... How about we just play that video for you guys now, actually? So if you guys are listening to this in the background, you might want to flick back onto the site or something and have a look at this video.
Guys, I'm so amped I could stay here for 3 weeks.
9 hours down, and we're almost in the door.
I think 2 people just left.
Why would they be leaving when we're only 9 hours away?
Yeah, I mean, this is an event.
Uh-oh. Blogs are saying the battery looks sketchy.
You know, if it looks the same, how will people know I upgraded?
4G? Is it 4G?
It doesn't say.
Whoa. What you got there?
Not sure.
What is that? Guys.
Whoa. Hey, bro, can we see your phone?
Sure.
Can I see with my hands?
Have you seen this thing? Ooh, check out this screen. This thing is huge.
It's pretty massive. And it's got 4G speed.
It's magnificent.
Samsung.
Samsung? That's a Samsung. Yeah.
I could never get a Samsung. I'm creative.
Dude, you're a barista.
Why don't you guys just get 4G phones? Why don't you just get a 4G phone?
Yeah, it's a Galaxy S2. This phone is amazing.
The Galaxy S2 from Samsung.
Okay, right, so as you guys probably just saw, Samsung's shit-stirring advertising campaign. So pretty much the gist was, let's make a fake queue outside something that looks like an Apple store, but we won't put an Apple logo on it because Apple will sue us for that. And then we'll have some people pretty much trying to drool over the Galaxy S2. The Galaxy S2 needs to be drooled all over by a dog. But anyway, they're pretty much trying to show that Apple users want their phone when really we don't give two shits about their phone.
I got the whole impression that Samsung was quite jealous of Apple's people actually lining up for queues and everything.
Yeah, I got that as well, because what did Samsung do? Something about $2 Samsung Galaxy S2s, but obviously their marketing department don't quite have a full head full of brains, because, hey, let's, on an iPhone 4S launch day in Sydney, let's put up a pop-up shop, let's say, right, the first 10 customers get a Samsung Galaxy S2 for $2. Well, the Apple Store, they're happy to pay full price for their phone. They can have a queue wrapping around the corner. Who's got 1,000 people in their queue, Jack?
Yeah, that's the whole.
And how many people are actually going to line up at the Samsung store?
Not many.
10. As soon as that line gets to 10, everyone else will leave.
Yeah. And I think there's also a video posted on YouTube a little while ago of the Microsoft 7.5 phone release.
Okay.
And they were giving away Black Keys tickets, and everybody in the queue was there to get a Black Keys ticket. No one wanted to buy any Microsoft product.
Yes.
I think they got one person to say, "Oh, I might buy an Xbox game."
Yeah, I saw that as well. There you go. Failed advertising campaign at number 2.
The thing is with Apple, they only need to walk out on stage, show a 4S in big picture, and say, "Do you want this?" And that's their marketing done.
They don't even need to say, "Do you want this?" They just say, "iPhone 4S."
Yeah.
The phone that the iPhone 4S, everyone had a whinge about it after Tim Cook finished the keynote.
And then the day later, everybody's like, "Oh crap!"
And then on order day, what happened? The Apple sites crashed. What does that say?
Yeah, for a phone that no one was going to buy, it's quite popular.
It is. Yeah, it is quite a popular phone for something people don't want to buy.
If only Samsung could figure out Apple's techniques.
Yeah, I know. But yes, Samsung will never do that because they'll get sued if they do that.
The thing is, you can't beat Apple at its own game. Apple brought out the iPad. You can't beat the iPad.
No, there's no way.
If you want to beat Apple at something, go and invent something yourself. Don't just try to piggyback on Apple's success.
It's about innovation.
Exactly, the original idea.
Okay, and just on another interesting note about Samsung, they recently, I think it was last weekend, they opened a store in Christchurch. Now, as you guys know, Christchurch, city of earthquakes. Our city got absolutely mauled in an earthquake. 2 earthquakes, actually. We lost everything in that earthquake. We lost our CBD. So at the moment, we have, it's a mall made out of shipping containers. So, and what Samsung did is they went and opened a store in this, and this store doesn't sell any Samsung smartphones, and it doesn't sell any Samsung tablets. It sells Samsung TVs, fridges, heat pumps, and washing machines. Talk about being proud of what products you do.
Yeah, I think Samsung are trying to get into the retail market like Apple did, was it, 10 years ago now?
Yes, I think it's almost 11 years ago, and Apple did an amazing job of their retail.
Yeah, I think there was actually a story of Steve Jobs saying this, but they went and built a mock-up of the Apple store in their front car park just to make sure that they got everything perfect.
Yes, they did a 1-to-1 scale of the first Apple store in Tyson's Corner. In the Apple car park. Now, that's actually from the Steve Jobs biography. Okay, so I think that pretty much covers the whole how stupid Samsung are segment of this podcast. Is there anything else you wanted to say, Jack?
That if I might do another live stream of Siri working this afternoon.
Okay.
We just to kind of get all the people that missed it last time.
Yep.
But again, everybody send me your suggestions on things to say to Siri to make you feel happy.
So you can spam his Twitter feed at JackoPlane, but I'm sure you already knew that. Please stop spamming mine. I'm sick of it. Okay, and I think that pretty much wraps up this podcast. So thanks for listening, watching, however you did this, guys, and we'll talk to you next time.